The small USB drive felt cold against Maya's palm as she stood frozen in the deserted restaurant parking lot. The man who had dropped it was already climbing into a black Mercedes, surrounded by 4 others in expensive suits. Something in her gut told her this wasn't just any USB drive, and these weren't just any men. "Wait," Maya called out, her voice cutting through the night air. "Sir, you dropped something." The man in the center paused, his hand on the car door. He was tall, impeccably dressed in a charcoal suit, with dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from stone. His companions immediately tensed, hands moving toward their jackets in a coordinated movement that made Maya's heart skip a beat. "What did you say?" The man's voice was accented, measured, and carried an authority that made her shiver despite the warm Los Angeles evening. Maya held up the USB drive, the streetlight catching its metallic surface. "This fell out of your pocket when you were paying your bill. I saw it on the floor by your table." The man's eyes widened almost imperceptibly. He strode toward her with purpose, his entourage following close behind like shadows. Up close, Maya could see the tension in his jaw, the way his dark eyes assessed her with an intensity that made her feel transparent. "You looked at it?" he asked quietly, his gaze never leaving her face. "No, sir. I just picked it up and ran after you. I finished my shift in 10 minutes, and I saw you leaving, so—" Maya trailed off, suddenly aware of how vulnerable she was in the empty parking lot with these men surrounding her. The man took the USB drive from her palm, his fingers brushing hers for a brief moment. He turned to one of his companions, a shorter man with glasses who immediately pulled out a laptop from a leather bag. "Check it," the tall man commanded in Korean. The man with the glasses worked quickly, his fingers flying across the keyboard. After a moment, he looked up and nodded, speaking rapidly in Korean. The relief that washed over the tall man's face was palpable, though he controlled it quickly. "What's your name?" he asked Maya. Maya Jenkins. I'm a waitress here at Rossi's." She gestured toward the Italian restaurant behind them. "Maya Jenkins." He repeated her name carefully. "I am Jin-woo Park. Do you know what you just did?" Maya shook her head, wrapping her arms around herself. Jin-woo's expression softened slightly. "You saved my life." Before Maya could process those words, a black SUV screeched into the parking lot, tires smoking. The men around Jin-woo immediately moved, forming a protective barrier around him and, surprisingly, around Maya as well. She found herself pressed against Jin-woo's back as gunfire erupted. Maya screamed as Jin-woo pulled her to the ground, his body covering hers as bullets pinged off the cars around them. His men returned fire, the sound deafening in the confined space. "Stay down," he murmured to her in English. "Do not move." The firefight lasted less than 2 minutes, but to Maya, it felt like hours. When silence finally fell, Jin-woo helped her to her feet, checking her for injuries with professional efficiency. "Are you hurt?" His eyes scanned her face, her arms, looking for any sign of blood. "No, What just happened? Who are you people?" Maya's voice shook, adrenaline making her knees weak. Jin-woo exchanged looks with his men. One of them, a broad-shouldered man with a scar across his cheek, spoke urgently in Korean. Jin-woo replied sharply, clearly disagreeing. "Miss Jenkins," Jin-woo said, his attention returning to her. "I'm afraid your life just became very complicated." "What are you talking about?" "I just returned your USB drive. I didn't see anything on it. I don't want any trouble." Maya backed away, but Jin-woo gently caught her arm. "I believe you. But the men who just attacked us, they saw you with me. They saw you hand me that drive." His jaw tightened. "And in my world, that makes you a target." "Your world? What world?" Who are you? Maya demanded. Jin-woo studied her for a long moment. I am the head of the Baekdu organization. We operate in Los Angeles, San Francisco, and several cities in Asia. That USB drive contains encrypted information about a business deal worth $200 million. It also contains evidence of corruption involving high-ranking officials in 3 countries. If it had fallen into the wrong hands, many people would have died, including me. Maya felt the blood drain from her face. You're in the Korean Mafia. That is one way to describe it, Jin-woo acknowledged. But right now, the more important truth is that you are in danger because you helped me. And I do not let innocent people suffer for my mistakes. So what happens now? Maya asked, hating how her voice trembled. Now, you come with us. Just for tonight, until I can ensure your safety. Jin-woo's tone left no room for argument. I promise you, Miss Jenkins, no harm will come to you. You have my word. The word of a gangster? Maya couldn't help the bitter laugh that escaped. The word of a man who pays his debts, Jin-woo corrected. You saved my life tonight. In my culture, that creates an obligation. A sacred one. The scarred man spoke again in Korean, more urgently. Jin-woo nodded and turned back to Maya. We need to leave. Now. Maya found herself being ushered into the Mercedes, Jin-woo sliding in beside her. As they pulled out of the parking lot, she saw police lights in the distance. My boss is going to fire me, Maya said numbly. I left in the middle of my shift. I will handle it, Jin-woo assured her. Consider yourself on paid leave. You can't just throw money at this problem. Watch me. There was a hint of dark humor in his voice. The car wound through the city streets with calculated precision. Maya had lived in Los Angeles for 6 years, working her way through college and then trying to make it as an actress while waitressing to pay the bills. Never once had she imagined ending up in a car full of Korean mobsters. Why didn't you just let me go? She asked suddenly. You got your drive back. Why drag me into this? Jin-woo turned to look at her, his dark eyes intense. Because 15 minutes after we drove away, those men would have found you. They would have questioned you about what you saw on that drive. And when you told them you saw nothing, they would not have believed you. They would have hurt you badly. And then they would have killed you. The blunt assessment sent ice through Maya's veins. How do you know? Because that is what I would do, Jin-woo replied quietly. If I were them. The car pulled into an underground garage beneath a gleaming high-rise in downtown Los Angeles. Maya was led into an elevator that required a key card, rising silently to the penthouse level. The doors opened onto a space that looked more like a luxury hotel suite than a criminal hideout. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a panoramic view of the city lights. Modern art hung on white walls. It was beautiful, tasteful, and utterly surreal. You live here? Maya asked. One of my residences, Jin-woo confirmed. You will be safe here. He gestured to a woman who had appeared from a side room. She was middle-aged, with kind eyes and a motherly demeanor. This is Mrs. Kim. She manages my household. She will show you to a guest room and provide anything you need. I have to go home, Maya protested. I have a cat. An audition tomorrow. Your cat will be brought here within the hour, Jin-woo said calmly. As for your audition, where and when? Maya stared at him. You're serious. Completely. She gave him the details. I'll have you there on time. But you cannot return to your apartment. Not yet. This is insane, Maya whispered. This morning I was worried about paying rent. Now I'm in witness protection for the Korean Mafia. Not witness protection, Jin-woo corrected with a slight smile. Personal protection. There is a difference. Mrs. Kim led Maya to a guest room larger than her entire apartment. When she was alone, Maya sank onto the bed, her mind reeling. There was a knock on the door. Jin-woo entered at her invitation, now wearing casual clothes that somehow made him look more dangerous than the suit had. "I thought you might have questions," he said. "About 1,000,000, Maya admitted. "But let's start with the big one. Why are people trying to kill you?" Jin-woo explained about the rival organization, the territory dispute, the evidence on the USB drive. "Without that drive, I would have been vulnerable. Many people would have died in the conflict to come. And you're telling me all this because you deserve the truth. You stumbled into something without any choice. The least I can do is be honest with you." Maya studied him. "Your men wanted to kill me, didn't they? Back in the parking lot." Jin-woo's expression darkened. One of them suggested it would be cleaner, safer for the organization. "And you said no." "I said I would kill anyone who touched you." His voice was flat, matter-of-fact. "You did nothing wrong. You showed kindness in a world that has very little of it. I will not repay that with violence." "What happens tomorrow?" Maya asked. "Tomorrow, I take you to your audition. Then we wait. Once we eliminate the threat, you can return to your life." "Eliminate? You mean kill?" "Yes." Jin-woo didn't flinch. "This is who I am, Miss Jenkins. I will not pretend otherwise." "Maya," she said quietly, "if I'm going to be living here, you should call me Maya." Something shifted in Jin-woo's expression. "Maya. And you should call me Jin-woo. At least here, in private." Around midnight, Mrs. Kim arrived with Dizzy, Maya's cat, who immediately claimed the expensive duvet as his territory. The next morning, Maya woke to find clothes in her size hanging in the closet. Jin-woo was waiting in the living room, back in a suit, with 3 of his men. "Ready?" he asked. The drive to the audition was tense. Jin-woo's men were clearly on high alert, watching every car, every pedestrian. "Are you nervous?" Jin-woo asked. "About the audition?" "More nervous about the armed guards," Maya admitted. "But yeah, this one's for a recurring role on a network show. It could change everything." "You will do well," Jin-woo said with surprising confidence. "You have presence, strength." "You don't know anything about acting," Maya said, but she was smiling. "I know about reading people. You have something rare, Maya. An honesty that people respond to." The audition went better than well. After facing armed attackers the night before, performing for a casting director seemed almost easy. She left feeling energized, only to find Jin-woo waiting outside, his expression grim. "What happened?" she asked immediately. "Get in the car. Now." Once they were moving, Jin-woo turned to her. "They found your apartment. Ransacked it, looking for information. You cannot go back there." "What about my things?" "Everything important has been moved to my residence. The rest can be replaced." "You can't just make these decisions for me," Maya protested weakly. "Would you prefer I let you walk into a trap?" Jin-woo asked quietly. "No," Maya admitted. "But I hate feeling helpless." "You are not helpless. You are protected. There is a difference." His hand moved as if to touch hers, then stopped. "I know this is difficult. I promise it will not be forever. The days that followed fell into a strange routine. Jin-woo insisted on paying her restaurant to keep her on the schedule, with his men stationed discreetly during her shifts. She attended more auditions, always with protection. And slowly, she began to see past the terrifying surface to the man beneath. He was up before dawn every morning, practicing taekwondo. His movements were precise, powerful, almost meditative. Once, he noticed her watching and invited her to join him. "I don't know any martial arts," Maya said. "Then I will teach you. It is good to know how to protect yourself." The lessons became a morning ritual. Jin-woo was patient, his hands guiding her into proper stances with surprising gentleness. They talked during these sessions. Maya learned that Jin-woo had been raised in Seoul, groomed from childhood to take over his father's organization. He spoke of duty, of family honor, of choices made before he was old enough to understand their weight. "Do you ever wish you could walk away?" Maya asked one morning. "Every day," Jin-woo admitted. "And never. That doesn't make sense." "It is the truth nonetheless. This life is a burden. But it is also who I am." "I don't believe that," Maya said. "The man who teaches me taekwondo, who makes sure Mrs. Kim gets flowers on her birthday, that's a different person than the one who orders hits." Jin-woo looked at her for a long moment. "Perhaps you bring out a different part of me, one I had forgotten existed." The tension between them grew daily. Jin-woo's scarred bodyguard, Dae-young, pulled Maya aside one afternoon. "You be careful with boss," he said in halting English. "His life very dangerous. People around him, they get hurt." "I know," Maya replied. "But I didn't ask for this." Dae-young studied her. "Boss, he not let you leave. Not because he keep you prisoner. Because he care too much." The words haunted Maya, especially as she found herself sitting with Jin-woo on the penthouse balcony, talking while the city sprawled below them. "Tell me about your family," Jin-woo asked one night. "Mom raised me alone in Detroit. She worked 3 jobs to keep us afloat. She died my sophomore year of college. Cancer." Maya's voice was soft. "I came to LA because she always said I should chase my dreams." "She would be proud of you," Jin-woo said. "For your strength. Your principles." "For getting mixed up with a crime boss?" Maya asked with a bitter laugh. "For choosing honesty when it would have been safer to walk away." Jin-woo turned to face her. "Not everyone would have done that. Maybe that makes me an idiot. It makes you exceptional." The moment stretched between them, charged with possibility. Maya could feel her heart racing, could see the way Jin-woo was looking at her. "This can't happen," she whispered. "Whatever this is." "I know," Jin-woo agreed, but he didn't move away. "You will return to your life soon. The threat is almost contained." "And then what?" "Then you forget about me. You go to your auditions, get your big break, live the life you were meant to live." "Just like that. Just like that." But his voice was rough with emotion. "You're lying," Maya said softly. "You're not going to let me walk away that easily." "No," Jin-woo admitted. "But I will if that is what you want. If that is what is best for you." 2 weeks after the parking lot incident, Jin-woo called a meeting with all his key people. Maya watched as he stood before a dozen serious men, speaking in Korean with absolute authority. Afterward, he found Maya in the guest room, packing her things. "It is done," Jin-woo said simply. "The threat has been eliminated. The rival organization has been dismantled. You are safe now." "Just like that. Just like that." He paused. "Your apartment has been cleaned and secured. You can return whenever you wish. And if I don't wish to return yet? Jin-woo's expression flickered with hope quickly suppressed. Then you may stay as long as you like. But Maya, I cannot keep you here for my own selfish reasons. You deserve more than this life can offer you. Shouldn't I be the one to decide that? Maya challenged. You are not thinking clearly. Stockholm Syndrome, trauma bonding. Don't, Maya snapped. Don't you dare minimize what I'm feeling. I know my own mind, Jin-woo. And I know that in the past 2 weeks, I've gotten to know you. The real you. Not just the scary crime boss, but the man who reads poetry and practices martial arts like meditation. That man is still a criminal, Jin-woo reminded her harshly. Still has blood on his hands. I know. Maya moved closer to him. And I'm not naive. But I also know that you're honorable in your own way. That you protected me when you could have just eliminated the problem I represented. Maya. Let me finish. She put her hand on his chest, feeling his heart race. I don't know what this is between us. Maybe it is trauma. But I know I'm not ready to walk away and never see you again. So I'm asking, can we try something? Carefully, slowly. Jin-woo covered her hand with his own. It will be dangerous. Life is dangerous. You could get hurt. I could get hurt crossing the street. People will judge you. Let them. Maya smiled. I've faced worse than gossip. Jin-woo pulled her closer, his hand cupping her face with a tenderness that made her breath catch. If we do this, I will protect you with everything I am. But I will also be honest about my life, about my choices. And if you ever want to leave, I will let you go. No matter how much it costs me. Deal, Maya whispered. He kissed her then, and it felt like falling and flying at the same time. As Jin-woo's arms wrapped around her, Maya realized she didn't want to go back. Whatever lay ahead, this felt right. When they finally broke apart, Jin-woo rested his forehead against hers. You saved my life that night in the parking lot. But I think you might be saving it in a different way now. How? By reminding me that I am more than the role I was born into. That maybe I can be better, even if I can never be truly good. You don't have to be perfect, Maya said. Just be honest. Be you. That's enough. 3 months later, Maya stood on a soundstage, filming her first scene as a series regular on a hit TV show. Between takes, her phone buzzed with a message from Jin-woo. Watching you shine. Come home when you're done. I have a surprise. She smiled, tucking the phone away. Somehow, the penthouse had become that. Not because it was luxurious or safe, but because it was where Jin-woo was. Where they talked late into the night, where he taught her to defend herself, where Mrs. Kim fussed over them both. It wasn't a normal life. It would never be normal. But it was theirs. As the director called for another take, Maya thought about that night in the parking lot. How one small choice, returning a lost item to a stranger, had changed everything. How kindness had led her into danger, but also into love. Jin-woo had been right that night. She had saved his life by returning that USB drive. But he had saved hers too, in ways neither of them had anticipated. Thank you so much for watching this incredible story. If you enjoyed Maya and Jin-woo's unexpected journey, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our next captivating tale. Drop a comment below telling us what you thought. Would you have returned the USB drive? What would you do in Maya's situation? And don't forget to smash that like button if this story kept you on the edge of your seat. Your support means everything and helps us bring you more amazing stories.